The silence before the storm is always the best, isn't it? All right. I think I can get started. Yeah, I see a thumbs up, so I'll just get started. Before I say anything else, I have a question. Does anybody recognize who these two are supposed to be? Yeah? A hobbit, yeah. Which two hobbits? Frodo and Sam from The Lord of the Rings. Who here has watched The Lord of the Rings? I expected every hand, to be honest, but you know, I'll hide my disappointment for now. So yeah, these are supposed to be Sam and Frodo from Lord of the Rings. I have to say, I watched The Lord of the Rings a couple of weeks ago, and then I realized that I made Sam a little bit more blonde than he's supposed to be. But what you gonna do? So yeah, we're gonna do a lot of things with Lord of the Rings today. But before we get started, my name is Alexander Chatzizacharias, blah, 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 blah. A little bit of a tricky last name. No need to memorize it. I occasionally boulder. I have a way too expensive Magic the Gathering card collection. I don't know if there are other Magic the Gathering fans here. Okay, well, it costs a lot of money, doesn't it? Yeah. And I play a lot of video games, like a lot of video games. I don't know if there are other gamers here. A couple, nice. So yeah, that is also a little. There's going to be a little bit of a video game theme in what I'm going to show you today. And I work at a company called JDriven in the Netherlands. We're with like 30 Java nuts talking JVM all day, every day. I've heard that my last name is a little bit hard to pronounce. Well, this being a talk about AI in RAG, I figured I would ask ChatGPT. And to be fair, it was pretty spot on. Chatzizacharias, it's Greek, by the way, for the ones that don't know how Greek last names look like. But what's kind of interesting is if you just say, hello, my AI overlord, it doesn't in any way say, I'm not an overlord, I'm not your master, I'm just a tool. It just accepts it and says, hello, my loyal human. Know what's coming for you, right? All right, so a little bit of our origin story. I mean, ChatGPT, I like to call it D-Day. I think it was 1.5 years ago by now, something like that, where OpenAI just released ChatGPT, and we got to play with it, and everybody was like, whoa, this is amazing. And me as a developer, seeing that, was like, okay, if they can do it, I can do it better. Quickly, I realized I need a couple billions in seed money to do it better. So that plan flew away quite quickly. But I got quite interested in the technology. How do they make these things work? Then I got into vector databases. How do they store these embeddings that they generate, and like the core logic is in this vector, in these embeddings. And then I moved into using these embeddings in a meaningful, let's say, production-ready way. Spoiler alert: there is no production ready when it comes to AI. So if you take away anything today, take that away with you. And then I got into RAG. So that's a little bit what I want to show you today. What I did to teach myself what RAG is, how it works, what you can do with it, and what you can't do with it. So RAG, or Retrieval Augmented Generation. So we're not going talking about this today. I hope you're not disappointed that we're not talking about RAG in this manner today. We're going to be talking about, well, if you Google RAG, this is what you're going to be seeing a lot. Diagrams, arrows, and company logos, trying to easily explain you what RAG is, which can be quite overwhelming, right? It's not very user-friendly. And as we know in our industry, whenever there's something new coming out, everybody jumps on top of it, and everyone tries to put a little bit of their own sauce over it and give it a new name and a cool name. But I think a good way to explain what RAG is it's a technique that allows you to make LLM responses better by injecting your own data in the prompt, pretty much, in a magical way, so to say. And that is pretty much all that there is to it. So all the weird diagrams that you see and everything like that, in my opinion, makes a little bit more complex than that needs to be. It's basically the user is doing a call, you intercept that call, you inject some more data into the in the prompt, and then you send it to the LLM. And this was created to battle the problem that LLMs have, that they have a limited context, right? So you cannot send everything, all your billion lines of code, or whatever. I hope you don't have a billion lines of code. To an LLM, and it should be. I see somebody. Yeah, I'm getting close. And that's why RAG became a thing. The name, in my opinion, is horrible. Just RAG says nothing. Even retrieval augmented generation says nothing. It was first coined by this paper, retrieval augmented generation for knowledge-intensive NLP tasks, which is really funny. The writer of the paper said in an interview, "We definitely would have put more thought into the name had we known our work would become so widespread. We have always planned to have a nicer sounding name, but when it came time to rate the paper, no one had a better idea." And if this doesn't summarize our industry and how things get started in our industry, I don't know what does. I'm pretty sure microservices was pretty much exactly the same thing 15 years ago, or cloud native, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so, yeah, the industry grabbed the term RAG, and they just went with it. They just started releasing types of RAG left and right: advanced RAG, graph RAG, smart RAG, self RAG, long RAG, multimodal RAG, which we'll be talking to that, hide. But there is one here I completely made up. Can anybody spot it? Can anybody spot which type of RAG doesn't exist? You are allowed to shout, by the way, whatever. Golden Retriever RAG. Who here thinks that Golden Retrieval RAG is absolute bull? A couple people. I'm afraid not. It actually exists. Self-RAG also exists. I'm sorry. Advanced also exists. Matrix RAG. Yeah, you wouldn't expect that one, right? It's so obvious. But yeah, I completely made that one up. But it tells a little bit of a story, how the industry handles this, well, let's say, hype words and hype cycles and things like that. And it makes it for people like us, application developers, that just want to understand what's happening and use it, really hard to get started, right? So you're gonna get started with RAG. Where do you start? What do you use? What don't you use? Do I need a golden retriever? Do I need to buy a dog just so I can do RAG? I don't know. But yeah. But today we'll be talking about multimodal RAG. And multimodal RAG is actually just RAG in its simplest form, but instead of only accepting text, you'll accept all kinds of modalities. So text, audio, video, images, infrared, 3D, IMUs, and it goes on. And right now, they're trying to vectorize more and more things about things like point clouds, or radio signals for outer space, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, so we can use LLMs with that. And today we'll be focusing on the three most, I think, if you disagree, let me know. These are the most common modalities that people in our industry get to work with: text, audio, and images, right? And text and images more so than audio, probably, in the Java space. And I'll just assume everybody here is in some form of in the Java space. All right. So the most important part in everything is the models. And there are two types of models that we'll be using today. So-called embedding models. Has anybody who here has heard of embedding models before? Okay, about 50%. So for the ones that don't know, embedding models are actually machine-trained, let's say, programs, very contained programs that get a certain input that can be text or audio or whatever, and the output is an array of numbers, which we call vectors. And those numbers are actually hold the semantic meaning of that piece of input, of text in this case. So that means if you search for, I don't know, Lord of the Rings, just a random movie, it gets vectorized, and then you search for Frodo and Sam, it also gets vectorized. Those two vectors are going to be semantically near each other. And then that means you can easily find the one with the other and vice versa. And then, of course, we have the large language models, which probably everybody knows by now. This is your ChatGPT that you interface, well, or your Mistral AI or DeepSeek model that you interface with every day nowadays to generate code so you can copy-paste it in your programs, right? That is a little bit, those are the most important two aspects of what you'll be seeing today and how it works. Having that, at some point, I thought, okay, being a gamer, how cool would it be to make a village or an NPC village? An NPC stands for non-player character, and the whole idea is that the whole village actually runs by itself, and they talk to each other and everything like that, fed using RAG techniques and LLMs. There are two different flows in everything you'll see today. One flow is the data ingestion flow. This has already happened because it takes a little bit of time. So basically, you prepare all your data and you put it into a vector database or other databases or Postgres or relational database, wherever you want to put your data. And it's there ready to be queried. And then, of course, we have runtime, which is what you'll be seeing, where we'll be querying our systems and things will come out and things will happen, hopefully, if nothing breaks. And that is what you'll be seeing today. That said, on the breaks part, there is a non-zero chance that the screen will just go blank and my laptop will crash because I'm asking quite a lot of the poor fellow. And how the stack looks like, you'll see in a bit. So when it comes to vector store for persistence, we use VV8. Anybody heard of VV8 before? A couple. VV8 is a vector database. Who has here worked with a vector database before? OK, great, a couple. So a vector database is actually a specialized database where you put in vectors, and it does similarity search or nearest neighbor search on those vectors to find, well, other vectors that are semantically close to what you are searching for. Our backend is written in Spring with LangChain and Kotlin. Any Kotlin aficionados here? Yeah, Kotlin, let's go. Any Kotlin haters here? I don't believe you. And the front end is using Unity 3D. Who here knows Unity 3D? Unity 3D is a game engine, so you'll be we'll have a nice front end with a village written in Unity. It's a little bit of an shittified product, so to say, yeah, unfortunately, I'm very proficient in it, so we keep using it, which is also a little bit of a sad story. Anyway. And we have a little bit of Python in our backend. And why that's needed, you'll see in a bit. I was also not very happy about this, but it was a necessary evil, so to say. But yeah, of course, Python is king when it comes to AI, machine learning land, right? So everything is Python first, and then it starts rolling out into other stacks. All right, so let's start with the first thing, moving the non-player characters around. So we are in this, my idea was I'm going to create a village in Lord of the Rings. My first idea was I want to create a village in the Shire, where the hobbits and they're chill and they're super, you know, they're just going on by the day. But then I quickly found out that all the models are already completely trained in the whole Tolkien mythos. And they know everything there is about Lord of the Rings and whatever Tolkien wrote. Probably not in a legal way, but they're trained on it anyway. So then I figured, OK, instead of doing that, I'm going to add a nice, peaceful, agricultural village in Mordor. And Mordor is known for not being very peaceful, for the people that have never seen Lord of the Rings, with orcs. And basically, everything is made up about this village, and all the personalities, everything you see is completely made up. So basically, what we want to do is an orc is standing there, and at some point, it will have the realization, I need to move, and I need to do something. And that is all driven by well, our backend system and the AI. To To make this work, basically, the Unity frontend is doing REST calls to our Spring Boot backend with LangChain4j. In there, LangChain4j is, by the way, by the way, an abstraction layer on top of all kinds of API calls or AI API calls like OpenAI or Mistral or Hugging Face, stuff like that, but also local, Ollama in our case. So we'll be using an Ollama 3.1 model with 8 billion parameters, and everything you'll see today, by the way, runs locally. So I'm not doing any calls externally over the internet, because localhost is best host, right? And that is done using Ollama, which is like a Docker for large language models, pretty much. All right, so let's start the service first. So when I wrote this, I just went with whatever I knew, and I knew LangChain4j existed, and I knew Spring was a thing. Well, I've been using Spring quite a lot. And then I figured, and then after a while, I found out that if you use LangChain4j, you probably want to use Quarkus, because the integration with Quarkus and LangChain4j is just much better. And Spring by now has Spring AI, which is their own integration. I was too lazy to migrate everything to Quarkus, so I did the next best thing and just changed the banner. See? So this is a Quarkus service now and not a Spring service. And then I also need to start the game, of course. All right. So yeah, we have Frodo and Sam. They come into this village. Sam's like, hey, there's a different kind of orc village. And he's going to find some taters for a good stew dinner. And like every good game, we get a quest. And that is ask around to find about the village and how we can get to Mount Doom. Because as we know, that is where Frodo is going. And then, of course, we can walk around. And then we find out that the village is called Little Minas Morgul, or LMM in short. Yeah. And then we can see there are some orcs standing about. And then if we look in our logs, we can see there are already calls being done to Ollama. And these calls are, before this orc that moved to talk to another orc. So here, what new insights have you gained from your recent studies, Lagdoof? Which is like something totally everybody does when they walk up to somebody, to a friend, right? What new insights have you gained? And basically, they are on a timer. So every orc has an internal timer to make a decision. How the code for that looks like is actually pretty simple. So we command a villager with a certain name, and we have a villager repository. This can be anything, Postgres or whatever, but in this case I just did it hard-coded in the code. And you can see we have villagers with a name, a job, an age, some kind of personality, and their current state within the game, and a short description about what they are doing. So every single time we're prompting the LLM on anything around this villager, we get all this data on the villager, and we send a command. Now, what's quite interesting is, so this is the command prompt, and you're telling, okay, these are the actions you're allowed to do. You can move to somewhere, you can talk to somebody, or you can do nothing. These are the action constraints, interaction limits, decision guidelines, etc., etc., etc. As you can see, the whole prompt is quite, well, big. What's really interesting is, what I find out is, when you ask a large language model to be restrictive and very creative in a single prompt, it really kind of, crashes or something and gives you nonsense responses. And restrictive, in my case, was I need structured output, right? I need a JSON that I can parse in the front end and do stuff with. So basically, it was always giving me the same response because I was asking it to be restrictive. So what I end up doing is having one command that is very creative. That is what you just saw. That is this prompt. And then have another command that basically gets this response from the first call to the LLM, and then structures it. So it's a two-pass, basically, call. And the second one is basically to verify the response and that it's actually something I can do with and structure it. What's really funny here is, your validation agent, you tell it what to do. Your output must be strictly adhere to the following JSON formats. So move to, talk to, wait, string or null, etc., etc. Then you can use it. Now, what's really funny is, first was, your output must strictly adhere to the following JSON format. And then I was still getting, sometimes, not always, that it was not adhering exactly to that JSON format. And then I added, I mean it, and then never happened again. So I don't know what this says about LLMs. Maybe you just need to treat them like little children. But yeah, that really worked, to my surprise as well, because it was more of a frustration ad in the prompt. And as you can see then, by now there are probably more orgs. Here we can see they've been chatting and chatting on. I've been pondering the ancient texts of our people. How do you think our community's values should balance tradition with adapting to a changing world? Also a very normal question to ask to your friends. And then if we go to there, here you can see there's a good mosh pit happening with orcs talking to each other. If we scroll these, that is the same, that's the other way. What news do you bring from the village? Have there been any changes? And last took my post at the city gate, which is this means it's probably a guard that is asking some other guard about changes. Now, what's also kind of interesting, maybe for you, good to know. So I have these personalities that I give to the large language model, and I've thought, I mean, maybe a cruel or a malicious orc would make sense. Those exist, as far as I know, but holy, the LLMs do not like those. Every single time an orc was with a cruel, malicious personality, it was like, yeah, I cannot help you with that. No, if you want anything malicious or cruel, I can't do anything with that, I'm sorry. And no matter what kind of prompt engineering I tried to do to make it happen, it just wouldn't. So then I tried to move to DeepSeek, which we know doesn't care about those things. Go China. But then everything broke. Like all my prompts didn't work anymore, everything. And then I tried to move from Llama 3.1 to 3.2, and everything broke again. So that also tells a little bit how much you can use, how much of production ready these models are if you want to use them in production systems, that even if you want to move from Llama 3.1 to 3.2, suddenly all your prompts don't work, all your guardrails don't work anymore, and you have to basically rewrite your whole logic just to move to a higher version of a model, which in some way makes sense, but it is a little bit rough, right? So yeah. That is a little bit how this is set up, and they will just continue talking over the presentation. But yeah, of course, we want to do some more rag stuff, and Frodo being there, having to find things, he's been going to be talking to orcs, so he's going to be moving around, going to an orc, and asking questions. And that orc needs to, of course, answer in an appropriate way. Thankfully, to make that happen, we didn't need to change a lot. We just added one step in between, is where we grab the query of Frodo, or the user in our case, and go to Viviate, and basically search for anything semantically near to what we asked, and extract it. So here we have a little story about Little Minas Morgul. Like a detailed description in history, totally not ChatGPT generated, by the way. Location description over history, etc., etc. So we created like this whole fake history of this little village in Mordor, and we tokenized it and we saved it in the vector store, in the vector database. And every time we're going to search for, if the AI is like, okay, this is something I can work with, or this is relevant, we'll take it out of the database and inject it in the prompt towards the LLM. All right, so let's go to this friendly-looking fellow, Morgul. Who? Oh, there we can see. Oh, sure. Rude. Who are you? I'm Morgul, the unofficial advisor to this village. Let's just say I have a keen interest in helping little Morgul thrive amidst the challenges of Mordor. Okay. Does anybody have a question that I could ask Morgul? Can be anything really. Sure. How do I get to Mount Doom? Well, I'm sure it's not a good idea for uninvited guests to be trespassing about Mordor's more sensitive areas. Let me see if I can accidentally misdirect you towards the scenic routes of Gorgoroth instead. So, the history of the village is that they do not like Sauron, and they've kind of created this community that is silently rebelling against Sauron, as you can see here. Then we can ask, for example, do you know Frodo? The famous ring bearer. Was he that famous? I'm sure he's just a legend by now, a myth whispered among the shadows of Mordor, blah, blah, blah. He remembered about 2 hobbits who passed through this land seeking to destroy the ring. Very brave or very foolish, depending on how you look at it. Grim. And if we go to somebody else, for example, fuck, and we can ask, who are you? A cunning hunter from Little Mosgora. I've learned thrive amidst Mordor shadows. So you can see every orc you ask has a different personality, and that is automatically kind of taken with the responses. And the code for that is actually pretty straightforward or something. So we are getting the villager that we talk to from our repository. Then we do a simple vector search in using Deviate. So we get everything that is semantically interesting for us. And then we just call the village assistant to create a little nice conversation. And what's really kind of important is to limit them to 300 characters, because holy moly, if you don't, they really like talking. And you'll see that in a little bit, even. So yeah, answer the question within quotation fill of JSON. So you're basically telling them a little bit what you're expecting, right? And you can ask pretty much anything. You can also ask, do you like London? As to think about it. London, I'm not even sure where that is. We heard rumors of distant lands, but our focus has been surviving Mordor's darkness, not some far-off city. Ooh, talk about a mood killer here. So yeah, last chance. If anybody has any burning questions for fuck, or wants to try to break my demo, that's also fine. Going once, twice? Hobbit? COVID. Oh. It didn't spread that far. So from one of the far-off lands we've just heard stories about. We have our own struggles with disease here in Mordor, but not only with that name. Okay. Must be the fun of the party, this fuck. Yeah, and they're... Sorry? Yes, exactly. It does a request to LLM, yeah. So first it goes through my vector store, gets all the interesting data, makes one prompt out of that, and calls the Llama 3.1 LLM, and gets the chat response back. Because the LLM might know what COVID is, but in the prompt, I'm telling it that you are an agent in this village in Mordor, and giving it some guardrails around that, so it kind of gives a response that's appropriate to that. Because it would make more sense for an orc in Mordor to not know COVID than to know COVID. And as we know, LLMs are, prediction engines, so they predict the most likely next token. And if you give that prompt, then the most likely next token is going to be like, I don't know about COVID. That's about it. All right. Yeah, so let's continue. So that's a little bit how you can do text rag. Then, of course, we have image rag. The idea here is that Frodo will be walking around, and at some point we'll find an orc that likes to paint. And then we're going to be doing things with that. And to make that happen, it's actually quite simple. We just added a vision model that we are running locally. It's called Lava. And a Lava model is a multimodal vision model that you basically send images to, and it returns you text. So it's going to transcribe the image for you, tell you what the image is showing. And then we use a clip model, and a clip is a multimodal embedding model, which you can send text and images to, and it will create a vector representation of text and images in the same vector space. That means you can semantically search for images using text, or for text using images, and vice versa, etc., etc., etc. All right. Okay. Speed hacks. Oh wow, that's an orc painter. Who would have expected this? And first we can talk. His name is Bobu Rogosh. Yeah, some people got it. Nice. Might be inspired by Bob Ross, or not. What a happy little accident that you found your way to me today. Quickly, who are you? Or better said, what do you do? Also, totally normal question to ask the first time. He's an orc painter extraordinaire. Spend my days creating beautiful orcs in Little Mons Morgul, blah, 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 blah. And as you can see, he might not have a certain max to his responses. Jesus Christ. Let's create something beautiful together. Sure. What should I draw? I'm not very good at drawing. Sand? The sun. Okay. I can do the sun, I think. Something like this, and like this, and like this. That looks like a sun, right? Silence. Okay, so what's happening now? So this is going to take a little bit longer. So Ollama is stopping because I have an 8 gigabyte RAM GPU. And I'm running these models on the GPU, of course. Ollama has to stop the Llama 3.1 text model, start the vision model, do the transcription, stop the vision model, start the text model, and generate some text. So that's why it takes a little bit longer. If you have better GPU than my gamer laptop, rip-off, then this will be faster. It can do it parallel. Okay, so then I love this piece. As I gaze upon the canvas, I see a majestic black and white representation of the sun shining brightly in the sky. The rays emanating from it are delicate yet powerful, blah, 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 blah. The way the light and shadow dance across the canvas create a sense of depth and dimensionality is simply masterful. So if you ever feel imposter syndrome or whatever, just put your images or your text or whatever you wrote to an LLM and it will just make you feel so much better. All right, so we created that, and of course what we then can do is we can go to somebody like this, a shopkeeper. Hey, want to buy some paintings? And here we can say, first, let's start with the standard, who are you? He's the shopkeep, the jovial, enthusiastic orc shopkeeper, blah, blah, blah. He basically sells paintings created by Bobu Rogosh. That's what he does. And then if we say, I want to buy a painting, you've come here, you want to buy a painting, oh God, I'm so happy. And then a UI opens. Now, so how this works, and that is pretty fun to me. So if you chat, if we go to the shopkeep, here, So basically, we are asking our LLM, hey, there's a question being asked. Can you classify this question, what it is? Wait, that was the wrong one. Here. Oh, geez. Yeah. And if it's a if it's a question type of chat, just answer. If it's about history, you do some historicals and with a to-do, of course. I mean, it's production ready. There have to be to-dos, right? If it's shopping, hey, just answer that you only sell paintings. But if they're shopping for a painting, ask the customer enthusiastically what kind of painting he's looking for, blah, 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 blah. And always end with the word ka-ching. And you might think, why? Because then in the front end, I can read the text stream that I'm getting in. And if the last word of the text stream is ka-ching, I can open a UI because I know, hey, this is the org painting. I mean, there are probably nicer ways to do this, but you know, this works. So in my vector store, I have here, and then we can go the data. I have all kinds of paintings from Bob Ross, like this, and they're all in the vector store. So then we can search for them. Anybody, any painting that would like to see? A painting of a beautiful mountain. Snowy or sunny? Snowy. Please. Happy little tree. Anything else? So we can search. There we are. So it is a snowy mountain. There are trees, not one, unfortunately. So minus points for that. So now what's happening again, the vision model is starting up. It's going to grab this image. And then it's going to transcribe this image, and the shopkeep is going to try to sell us the image. Or the painting, better said. Oh, my Middle Earth. You've got a true masterpiece here, my friend. You can see that its painting is a description of the very majestic Karathras, one of the which is actually a mountain in Lord of the Rings, which is pretty funny. One of the mountain peaks in all Middle Earth, blah, 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 blah. I don't know how good of a salesman. Shall we discuss the price? Ka-ching. But then what you... So this is like an image rag. You do a text call, you grab the image, you send it to your LLM, and then you create a description or whatever you want to do with it. And of course, we can also draw this. Beautiful sun, right? Silence again. But Bobu Rogosh told me it was very dimensional, beautiful. And as you can see, we can find the other image we just drew by just drawing a sun again. And that is basically, so the other image, when we drew it, we vectorized it, and we put it in the vector store. And now if you draw something similar, you'll get that image back. That is the cool thing about vector stores. They will always find something. It can be unrelated to what you are searching for, but they will always try to find something. So you will always return the closest thing. So I've put the distance max at 1 out of 2. As long as the distance between two things is within 1, and typically this has probably a distance of 0.1, something like that, 0.2, it will find you something. Which is a little bit like gambling. You never know what you're getting back, which is some people find fun, other people find less fun. And of course, the shopkeep tells you that it's a gem of a painting. Simple yet charming drawing is a perfect example of Bobu Rogo's ability to capture the essence of Middle Earth's natural wonders in a way that's both whimsical and profound. That was so what I was going for, huh? So yeah, as you can see, you can quite easily, I think, have some rag flows in your projects. I refrain from saying production-ready projects because, again, I don't believe LLMs are really there yet. But who knows in a couple of years. All right, and finally we have audio rack. I'm a little bit of a metalhead myself. Any other metalheads here? Okay, we are going to have a great time. I'm sorry to the rest. So Frodo will be walking around. At some point, he's going to find an orc that likes to play music, and we're going to ask questions about music or do stuff with music. Hopefully, we'll get a response. And this is where it gets a little bit complicated, I guess, when it comes to the architecture, because we are adding another server, a Python server, with a clap model in it. And a clap model is very similar to a clip model. It gets audio, and it can and transcribes that to text, or it gets text and tries to find or tells you what kind of tune it can be. So it's a multimodal embedding model for audio. So what we'll be doing here is we're going to asking stuff about audio and trying to generate a transcription on the audio, and then the metalhead is going to generate lyrics on what he's hearing, pretty much. And to make that work, because clap, so clip I run natively within VV8 in the Docker image of VV8. Clap wasn't supported by VV8. I couldn't find an audio transcription model that can run on Llama, so I had to pull in a model from Hugging Face, wrap it around the Python server, and expose it through that. And as Thomas said earlier today, if you like it, put an API on it. Stealing your joke here a little bit, and that is exactly what I did. Yeah, and basically this is the Python server. So we have the clap. That's a Microsoft model, by the way, and we just expose it to embed the audio or embed the text in the same vector space. All right, so we walk around. Here we are. A new phase first, of course. Who are you? I'm noticing my laptop is getting a bit slower with these things, which makes sense because it's fuming hot. Dude, I'm the metalhead, an orcish power metal musician living in the best life in tranquil village of Little Minas Morgul. Pounds fist on the table. I don't know which table, but you know. He's a passionate advocate for the greatest musical genre of all time, power metal, which I agree. And I don't know why I thought like this character, you're a metalhead, you like metal music, and it gave them like this surf bro persona, like dude, man, bro. I was like, okay, not necessarily how we talk, but sure. Can you play some music? And now we do the same trick we did with the shopkeep. If it finds out that it is a question about playing music, it will hopefully open a UI any second now. Or, wow, or not. Let's play some music. And while this is thinking, I can here. What? Jeez. Here. We can go to the village and go to the metalhead. That's the lyrics here, and see. I want to play some music. So that's also the fun thing about LLMs. They are never 100% reliable and predictable, right? So that is also why I keep hammering on the fact that these things are probably not production ready. Yeah, you really need to be careful with what you're going to do if you're going to do. Here we go. So you want to get your ears rocked? Let me know what kind of metal gets your blood pumping. And then we can say song with orcs, make it heavy, metal, something like that. So now it's going to get this prompt. It's going to transcribe it using clap, and then it's going to our vector store to search for audio that fits this. And I would argue that this is a metal song. Maybe don't, and it's actually, but the Frostbite Orkings. That's actually the name of the band that made this song. And then he got this audio and generated like this, these lyrics around it, which is not the same as the lyrics that you hear. In the frozen wasteland Moria's gate, blah, 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 blah. As you can see, you can do that all using local systems. Then you can do, how about something classical with a piano? For the ones that like classical music, the same person. So I always said people that like heavy metal also like classical music. It's like, dude, I'm not classical music, piano, me. But he still made in Twilight House, blah, 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 Shadowblind. Then, of course, you can also, for example, if I draw something like this, and like this, and like this. So this is supposed to be a violin, if you did. Everybody laughing. Thanks. So what if I draw? So this is supposed to be. Okay. So this is going to take a little bit of time because it has to transcribe the image using the vision model. It's getting a piece of text of this image represents this, this, and this. Sends that to the clap model, the audio transcription model. Then it says, okay, if this is a violin, then I need to do this and this. Oh, I thought it was a guitar. Damn it. Close. This song is about the axe, baby. Okay. The guitars will solo. I can't draw, I'm sorry. If there is somebody that is really good with drawing with a mouse, let me know, then you could give it a try, but not for me. Oh yeah, maybe. I don't have a lot of time left, but that's it. Maybe next time I'll try that one. I've also drums. I should have done drums. That is a little bit more distinctive between guitar and violin. Or I need to take classes on drawing. But yeah, and then of course after talking all this, Frodo finds Sam again and leaves little Minas Morgul. People know how the Lord of the Rings ended, right? Where Frodo went like, I'm going to throw the ring in, but then didn't. And then Gollum fell in, and then whole of Mordor was destroyed. Which unfortunately means little Minas Morgul was destroyed as well. Unfortunately. And this is also my explosion quota reached, because I always just need to show an explosion when I give a presentation. Yeah, unfortunately they all died. And thus it made its end. Super sad, super sad. But yeah, so that is a little bit all I had to show you. I hope you got a little bit of a feeling what needs to happen if you need to create this kind of flows, especially if you want to do them offline, all locally. Again, I do firmly believe that LLMs are just not production ready anymore, unless maybe if you're building a very simple chatbot with no guardrail needed. But then again, what's the use case in that, right? So yeah, thank you for watching. I have a Twitter, but to be honest, I'm never there. So I'm on Blue Sky, and all the code of the backend that you saw is on GitHub. You can just look at it, see what I've done. It's all written in Kotlin. I'm sorry, or no thanks, I guess. Feel free to use it for whatever you want to do. So yeah, thank you very much. And I don't have time for questions, but I'll be here around, and you can find me. Thank you.